On today's show, Tesla has another record-breaking quarter. General Motors and Nissan both pledged to go full carbon neutral and dump ICE for good. And Faraday Future comes back from the brink of death with a proposed IPO and manufacturing deal with Geely. These stories and more coming next. This is EcoTricity's EcoTEC Roundup show from New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. We are 100% Kiwi and we're 50% community owned. Why not switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the worlds of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. There is only one place to start today, and that's Tesla's fourth quarter earnings report, released after the close of business on Wednesday, or if you prefer, halfway through Thursday afternoon if you live in New Zealand. Sadly, I don't have time to go over everything in depth here, but let's start with the figures. Its Q4 production pushed Tesla's annual production figures to 509,737 cars, while its Q4 delivery figures pushed its yearly delivery figure to 499,647 vehicles. It ended the fourth quarter with a total revenue of $10.7 billion, $1.868 billion in free cash flow, and an adjusted profit of $903 million. Its current total vehicle production capacity around the world now sits at 1.05 million, meaning it could make 1 million cars this year and not even break into a sweat. We often look at the United States or China as being a good place to see high plug-in vehicle sales figures every year. But new figures published from December now confirm that the European market was in fact the world leader for plug-in car sales last year. In total, more than 1.36 million plug-in vehicles were sold in Europe, but it was in December that things really accelerated, with plug-in hybrid vehicle sales up 347% year-on-year. Additionally, battery electric vehicles were up 223% year-on-year. In December alone, 112,260 plug-in hybrids were sold, accounting for 9% of the market, while 168,912 battery electric vehicles were sold, accounting for 14% of the market. I cannot wait to see this year's figures. General Motors caused waves this week when it announced its intention to go fully zero carbon by 2040, pledging to turn its entire fleet zero tailpipe emissions by 2035. Stating that it was all in on transitioning to a fully electric fleet, GM reiterated its plans to accelerate its electric vehicle development, which includes accelerating market launch dates for the Cadillac Lyriq and Hummer EV, as well as reiterating the fact that it will be unveiling new electric models this year that we haven't seen yet. The majority, with the exception of the refreshed Chevrolet Bolt EV and soon-to-debut Bolt EUV, will be powered by GM's Ultium battery system and drivetrain. Construction of a new Ultium battery gigafactory is already well underway in Lordstown, Ohio, and should be completed this year. As part of its quarterly earnings report, Tesla officially unveiled the new, refreshed Tesla Model S and Tesla Model X, based on a brand new chassis, battery pack, and drivetrain configuration, which will still use 18650 cells but promise better energy efficiency and performance. The new Model S and Model X are available with a choice of twin or triple motor drive. Most noticeable, of course, is the interior refresh, which takes design cues from the Tesla Model 3 and Tesla Model Y. There's a new central display, portrait, not landscape, and a new yoke-like steering wheel. Performance specs are truly bonkers, and the price tag for the highest-end Plaid Model X and Plaid Plus, or maybe that should be Plaid Plus Model S, are similarly eye-watering. But the weirdest bit, other than the wheel, neither car have gear selectors. They just guess where you're wanting to go based on what they can see. Yeah, not sure about that one, to be quite frank. Lordstown Motors released a new video this week showcasing progress at its Lordstown production facility in Ohio. It says its endurance pickup has achieved a 5-star crash test rating, but only through software crash simulations at the current time, and that it's also signed a new battery supply contract to source cells for its endurance pickup with LG Energy Solutions, which is formerly known as LG Chem. In addition, the company says it's finished metal stamping and welding for the first 57 beta prototypes of the Endurance pickup, with those vehicles due to enter in testing in March. It also says we can now expect a new vehicle from the company in the second half of this year, an electric van variant which will be sold as both a commercial vehicle and the basis for an all-electric RV. Alongside Tesla's quarterly figures and the reveal of the new Model S and Model X, we also heard some very important information about Tesla's other vehicles. Among the things we learned was the fact that Tesla's Semi Class 8 Big Rig has now completed its development process and is ready for production. But there is a catch. According to Elon Musk, talking during the earnings call, the Tesla Semi can't enter into production until Tesla's new 4680 cell production line is operating at full capacity. The 4680 cells are essential to the success and commercial viability of the Tesla Semi, so Musk hinted we won't see high volumes of Tesla Semis this year. Instead, he reiterated the company's commitment to begin low-volume production by the end of this year, using 4680 cells produced at Tesla's Fremont facility. Which electric pickup truck consumers will flock to has been the topic of heated discussions, especially in the EV world. But this week, a new study from Cox Automotive, a firm I should note is an investor in Rivian, showed us that when it comes to regular pickup truck customers, Ford might win the EV race. Asked a series of blind questions about the appearance of an unbranded Tesla Cybertruck, Rivian R1T, Hummer EV and Ford F-150 electric, buyers consistently showed a preference for the shape and stylings of the F-150. Even when they knew the brand of the vehicles, 155 respondents who said they were looking to buy a pickup tended towards the conventionality of the Ford F-150. It shows that the general market may have a different idea of what actually makes an electric pickup great. Faraday Future, a company that we have frankly heard very little from since CES last year, has long been on our internal death watch list. But out of seemingly nowhere, it announced on Thursday its intention to push ahead on the development and production plans for the high-end luxury FF91 sedan. How? Via an entry to the stock market using the EV industry's favourite method, a special purpose acquisition company. It also announced a new partnership with Geely, the global mega automaker, whose brands already include Volvo and Polestar. Working with Geely, Foxconn, its existing manufacturing location in Hanford, California, plus a contract manufacturing partner in South Korea, Faraday Future says we'll see the FF91 enter onto the marketplace next year. Place your bets below if you think it will or won't. Electric vehicles have, for the most part, even in today's show, been targeted at individuals who have a lot of cash to buy an EV. But European electric motorcycle company Cake has just unveiled a new special edition of its Cake Calc motorcycle that it's got a very different target market for: wildlife reserves in Africa. I'll explain. Working with a South African wildlife college, Cake has designed a variant of the Calc that will be sold in a buy one, gift one charity sale. It will donate the donated motorcycles to wildlife reserves to help rangers track down and apprehend poachers. The bikes, which have been designed to work with solar charging stations, are nimble enough to cover the rough terrain and quiet enough to sneak up on criminals. It is a project that I love, and I really hope we're going to see more EVs used like this in the future. Around the same time that General Motors announced its pledge to aspire to a carbon-neutral future for the company, so too did Nissan announce its own pledge to head towards zero emissions. Unlike GM, though, which has set a target of 2040, Nissan's target is a full 10 years further out at 2050 and seems to focus more on the use of its e-power hybrid drivetrains alongside battery electrics to reach its goal. It's not clear how it aims to reach carbon neutrality without going fully electric, but its pledge does mention electrifying all new vehicles in key markets by 2030, a statement which could of course mean hybrid and hydrogen as well as battery electric. And developments on solid-state batteries have also been promised. And just as with GM's pledges, it is up to us to hold both of these companies to their promises. You may have noticed in recent weeks that we've been covering what appeared to be a fire sale of equipment from the California offices of electric car startup Byton. Well, this week we've learned that the same company is now under investigation by the Munich Public Prosecutor's Office in Germany for, quote, delayed insolvency proceedings. It's alleged that Byton has not paid its German staff for months, failed to initiate contractually promised payments, and its office leases have expired. Because Germany has such strong labour laws, the lack of action on Byton's part could really land it in some significant trouble, and frankly things do not look good long term. And finally, there is still a lot of mistrust of fully autonomous cars. Something that's rightly born out of a lack of familiarity with them, some pretty high-profile horror stories, and a Wild West legislative attitude that means what's legal in one place isn't necessarily legal elsewhere, sometimes in the same country. But this week we were reminded of the good that Tesla's Autopilot system, still nowhere near fully autonomous, can do to keep road users safe from harm. As longtime viewer and Model 3 owner Vaclav Visklis told us this week, his Autopilot system brought his car to a complete stop on a road outside Prague this week in order to save the life of a stray dog wandering across a busy freeway. But before the dog was rescued, another driver ploughed straight into the back of his Model 3. Apparently Human Pilot 3.0 is not a match for Autopilot in this case, but suffice to say, he and the dog were left unharmed, and the dog has now been happily rescued. Score 1 for Autopilot, and 1 for being a really good, kind human being. Good job, mate. And on that note, we are done for today. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next episode. And if you haven't already switched, why not consider switching to New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company? It is super easy to make the switch, and when you do, you'll be helping New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean, green, renewable power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back soon with more great videos for you all to enjoy, but until then, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite! See you next time.